po yung, let's say po, characters po ng bawat tao po. Like, dun po sila nagbabase po sa personality.
Okay, what is that? What is the word that you described?
Personality po. Personality po.
Okay, so personality, character. Yes, any other words that you can share to us from the group? Thank you, Sajal. Again, comment your name if you want to share something. Okay, Nan. Okay, sige. Yes, Kurt. Which are you not familiar with? Which of the words are you not familiar with?
Yung isa lang din po, sir.
Yes.
Yung ano po, indirect characterization.
Okay, indirect characterization. You're not familiar with that. Sige.
Opo.
So, uh, who's still not yet sending their papers? I'm still giving you time. It's 8:27. I understand those who have internet problems. So, please tap the reason button if you're not yet sending your paper. Wala na. So, I will be closing this one. I will be commenting yes. I, okay, so I'm extending my time until 8:30. If that, then your paper will not be valid. So please do send that before 8:30. Yes, how about you, Thea? Which is not common.
Sir, yung Chekhov's gun po.
Chekhov's gun. Okay, sige. Let's try to learn that later. Yes, Abantayan. Which one do you want to share?
Share po sir ng familiar po or not familiar.
Familiar.
Siguro po sir, number one po is time. Since
Tell me more
ano
about
po, time po is everything happening on the story po is specified with time, especially when it comes to different events po. Siyempre po kapag po wala na akong po magkaroon tayo ng ball in the morning when it is happening in the evening. So, yun po, mas maganda po sa gabi. So, sa time po, para pong in the certain events po, na iintindihan po natin in what certain time po tayo nangyayari yung ganong event po. Actually,
okay.
indicated po kahit po hindi siya specifically oras talaga. Like yung lunchtime, ganun po, breakfast, dinner, ganun. So, mabilis po natin makikita. So, that's an familiar po time.
I thank you. So I guess you will be sharing more about that later as we have our discussion because later we will be encountering those words as we proceed to the topic, the first topic that we will be having before the midterm examination. So now we still have 1 minute before 8:30. So please do submit your papers now. Okay. Now, before we totally proceed to our discussion, I have here, as presented on your slide, can you see it on your screen? Okay, I have here jumbled letters. So all you have to do is form to form a word relative to these jumbled letters. Okay, because after our discussion, a student who will get the most number of points will be receiving 1 point for our upcoming quiz. I prepared five words or group of words here, so you have to give your best in forming those jumbled letters into an English term, okay, or a term that is related to our course. And you will be able to earn points based on these circles. As indicated here, you will be getting 2 points after you have formed a word out of these jumbled letters. Did you get that? So this is just an example. So in order for you to gain the point, all you have to do is to type your answer in our chat box in all capital letters, correct spelling, and no double answers. Did you get that, Justin Villena? Vil
Dilayo po, sir.
okay, Vileo. Kasi, sige,
Ah,
kita ko kasi dito ay Justin Le. Sige. Did you get that?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Now, so you will be seeing the ellipsis, which signifies that the answers beyond those ellipses will not be counted. So I also commented done sa ating GC. So your papers beyond my message will not be counted. Okay. So if you see the ellipsis, it means your answers will not be valid. So you will not get the opportunity to earn points. Okay. So let's try to practice this one. What's your answer? What's your answer? Okay. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, so that's it. So I commented my ellipsis here. So on my chat box, Remo is not included because she is beyond the ellipsis. Okay, I will be using my chat box sa phone because I'm also connected with my phone. Now, to make it more challenging, once I reveal the correct answer, only these lucky students will be getting the chance of earning the points. Okay? One, two, and three. Based on the chat box. So kung sino yung number one, nakapag-type, nakapag-send ng tamang sagot, number two at number three, then they will be getting 2 points. Nasusundan? Okay.
Yes po.
Sir, paano po kapag yung pangatlo sa chat box ay mali ang spelling, edi we will proceed to the fourth one kung tama ang pang-apat. So siya yung lucky student natin. Sir, paano po kunwari naabutan na 5 lang ang nakapagsagot ng tama kasi naabutan ng ellipsis? At ito po, imbes na number 3 ay number 8. Babalik tayo ng counting sa taas. Basta yung included lang sa ellipsis. Nasusundan? Chances are we have different chat box. So again, I will be relying on my chat box. Okay, I'm very faithful naman and very honest when it comes to this one. Now, in our case, let's see if we share the same chat box in our lucky student. This is just a practice as I told you earlier. Ang number one ay di si Pahamtang, number two ay si Mendoza, number three ay si Alob. Okay, so ganun lang. So parehas ba tayo? Okay. Sige. So, parehas. Sana yung magtuloy-tuloy na parehas. So, sa chat box ng sir. I mean, dito sa public chat ng sir sa phone at saka sa ating Google meeting. Okay. My questions ba? Again, the top three. Okay? The top three students who get the most number of points. And in each award, we have different points to earn. And like this one, this is worth 4 points. And our first word is type your answers now. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, so time is up. I'm sorry, yun yung aking ha, yung that na mali lang ang pindot sir. So that i siya ha. Yes, Kurt, what's your answer?
biographical po, sir.
Are you feeling lucky today?
Opo.
Okay. Let's see if that is correct. So the correct answer is biographical, and our lucky students are number 4 and number And the last student. Who's our number four? Uh, Here I see. So one Rivera, number two Santos, number three Remo, number four I see Alog. Is that the same as yours? And the
Yes po.
last student I see Acido. Okay, so okay, sir, I see Acido with 4 points. Now we have the next one. Don't worry, we still have more. This is worth 9 points. So it's a great leap. And this is the word. Five, four, three, two, one. Time is up. Okay. So time is up. Yes, yes, Buison, you're here. And what is your answer?
Plot twist po, sir.
Plot twist. Are you sure?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so you must be sure because that is the correct answer. And our lucky students are number two. Who's number two? The Rivera Justin with 9 points. Ang number 4 ng Sir IC Bantayan with 9 points. Is that the same as yours, class?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay, and Pahamtang for number 5 with 9 points. Okay. Don't worry, we still have more, and this is worth 7 points. Five, four, three, two, one. Type your answers now. Okay, time is up. Yes, Villanueva, what's your answer?
In medias res po.
And do you feel the energy? Are you feeling lucky?
Yes po.
Okay, I like that confidence. And let's see if that is true. Okay, so our lucky students are one, two, and the last student, and that is in medias res. Ang number one ang sir I see Rosales with 7 points. Ang number two I see Mendoza Kurt with 7 points, and our last student, I mean before the ellipsis and Villanueva. So that is true. Villanueva got it 7. Now this is the fourth word, and this is worth 10 points. Type your answer for this one because this is our word. Okay, five, four, three, two, one. Time is up. Okay, let's see. Okay, yes, Dongon, what's your answer?
Hindi ko po sure kung ano po yung basa pero hypodegesis po.
Okay, so are you sensing that you are lucky today?
Medyo po.
Medyo. Sige, let's see. This is worth 10 points, and our lucky students are 1, 6, and 7. Ang number one caser, I see Evangelista. Evangelista with 10 points. Ang number 6 ay 5. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 si Acido. Acido with 10 points. And number 7 I see Rosales. It's your second time, right? With 10 points. So this is the last one for today's activity, and this is worth 10 points. Let's see if you can still get this one. Cliff, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm about to say the answer earlier, but I guess this is very obvious because the correct answer for that is cliffhanger, and our lucky students are number one with 6 points. I see. Patulot. Number three, I see Mendoza. Kurt with 6 points, and number four, I see Bantayan with 6 points, and number eight, I seven, eight, Perez with 6 points. Okay, so I guess that's all for our introductory activity. Bantayan, what's your score?
15 po.
Okay, 9 plus 6, 15. Yes, Rosales, what's your score?
17 po.
7 plus 10. And Mendoza, what's your score? Mendoza, Kurt?
Sir, di ko po alam. Nakalimutan ko po. Napapokus po
Okay,
kasi.
sige. So, your score is 7 plus 6, 15. So, we have Rosales 17, Bantayan 15, and Mendoza 13. Tama ba? So, the remaining ay 10 and 6. Okay, so as promised, Alma, nakakuha ba? So as promised, we will be only acknowledging the top three students. Althea, how did you find the activity?
Nakakapangatal po, sir.
Kapangatal, wag nyo na pong gawin niya next time. Kinakatal kami. Ganun ba?
Yes, sir. Ang bibilis po ng internet nila tsaka mag-type na hindi po
Sige.
minsan nakakahabang.
Sige. So, okay, sige. But don't worry if ever you did not get the 1 point. 1 point lang naman as long as you enjoyed. So that's more important. And if ever, as I told you, if ever you did not get 1 point, still we have another opportunity for that. That is the reason why I ask you to create a table and fill in the boxes with the words that I have prepared earlier. Because what we will be having today, so I hope you follow this one, it's just like this one. Because what we will be having today during our discussion is we will be doing a sort of activity. And this is I called Asean ang salita. Or where is the word? Okay, in our case, where are the words? So during our discussion, you will be encountering those words or those group of words. All you have to do is to cross out those words. It's like the bingo one. I hope naman naglalaro, kung hindi man naglalaro ay naka-experience. So it's like we will be doing the bingo in our class. You, you have to cross out all those terms, all the terms that you have written on your paper. So dapat pinagala yung
Blackout
kutob-kutob.
po, sir.
Yes, that is blackout. Kapag sinabi class blackout, lahat ng words ay dapat mako-cross out nyo. Now, kung kanina tatlo lang, today, I will be giving 1 point to 10 students. First 10 students na makakapag-cross out at makapag-sesend ng kanilang picture again sa ating GC. Pipicturean yung na-cross out, huwag nyo nang gurihan. Cross out lang, okay? Kasi kapag hindi mabasa yung sulat, kasi dahil ginuruhan, hindi yan i-acknowledge kasi i-verify yan ng ating DTI representative. So kapag hindi yan, pag masyadong guring-gure, hindi nakita, ay hindi natin ma-acknowledge yan. Kung gagamit kayo ng highlighter or ibang ballpen para ma-cross out, that's a good one. Nasusundan yun, class? May
Yes,
questions ba?
sir.
Okay, now, para madali niyong makita yung mga words sa yon, they are in blue. Nakakulay blue siya sa ating PowerPoint presentation. Nasasandaan? So, pag nakita nyo yung word na yon in blue, then you have to cross out sa inyong paper. Okay? So, again, I can see naman that you sent your papers. So, kung ano lang yung nakapaloob ba doon sa GC, yun lang ang ma-acknowledge ng sir. Okay, so I saw some students who unsent their papers. So if ever, I hope na-resend nyo yung inyong paper kung nag-unsend man kayo. Okay? Basta yung nasa kapaloob sa ating GC, yun lang ang i-acknowledge ng sir. Questions, clarifications, Micaela?
Wala naman po, sir. Malinaw naman.
Okay. Sige, everything is clear. So we will start our discussion. Yes, Michelle.
Sir, tanong lang po. Paano po pag hindi po napansin na may dalawa pong magkaparehas? Hindi ko po agad napansin kanina bago po sir.
Sige, yain na. Eh di kapag nakita ko, di dalawa na agad. Sa susunod ha, dahil una pa lang naman to, follow the directions kung ano yung sinabi lang, sir. Okay, so yun na lang.
Opo, sir.
Basta
Di ko po
kung ano yung
napansin, sorry
nasend,
po.
basta kung ano yung nasend na sa ating GC, yun na lang i-acknowledge lang, sir. Wala nang diyan
Okay po,
to
thank you.
the chat na. Sige, more questions before we proceed? Wala na. Sige. Itap nga ito kung ready na at naintindihan ang directions. Sige. Tingnan natin kung tayo makakapag-break class ha kasi nga tayo ay medyo pa-late na. Yes, Tristan, do you have any questions?
Wala
Yes,
pa,
ma'am.
napamali lang, sir.
Okay, medyo malayo yata yung sa ating reaction button. Okay. So this one naman, again, you will be getting 1 point. And wala naman kayong puhunan dito. You are given the same opportunity. Okay? And that's the reason why I also ask you to always attend my classes regularly and on time. Okay? Because I always prepare activities like this. So last time we have started our discussion with literatura as we had our orientation as literatura as literature. It came from the Latin term literatura, litteratu-ra, which means writing formed with letters, and letters is litera. Okay, so ang pinagmalalaman ng letters ay yung litera. Again, litera. Tura, so that's the etymology of the term literature. And we have different genre of literature, and one of that is fiction. And it is just right for us to study the elements of fiction for us to easily analyze our literary piece. Okay, because as I have discussed, your semester project would be a literary analysis. So if you notice, I compiled all the terminologies or the concepts in just one PowerPoint for us to easily grasp the information about analyzing a literature. Okay, and first we have to start with the first element of fiction, which is the character. When we talk about the character, again, class, this is a person, an animal, a being or creature in the story. So it could only be person, It could only be animals in just one literary piece. We will be encountering an example of that when we totally dig into different literary pieces. But for now, we will be focusing on the concepts. And if you read already your literary piece, the assigned literary piece, then you will identify which literary piece is that, the one that I'm talking about. Okay? Then writers use characters to perform the actions and speak dialogue, moving the story along a plot line. Who is the one responsible in creating the character? That is the writer or the author. Okay? And as we said, the characters give life to the story. And di ba sometimes that is our deciding factor if we want to continue reading the literary piece or not. If we love the character, then we will totally proceed to the entire paper. But if not, I do not like the character because it's like the same lang kung ano yung laging character sa literary piece here in the Philippine context. So I will stop reading that. Okay? And it's always connected with the term characterization. When we talk about the characterization, it's the writer's tool. Okay? It is the literary device that the writer is using in order for him to give details about the character. Okay, when we talk about the characterization, it's a detailed description about the character. Okay, so it occurs anytime the author uses details to teach us about a person. It is a process by which the writer reveals the personality of the character. As you said also earlier, character equates with the personality. We will be able to identify the personality of the character if we really understand its characterization. As characterization is a detailed description about the person or about the character. There are instances wherein the author is one of the characters in the story. Okay, and somehow the plot or the story itself is a reflection of his life, and we will be encountering that um, to one of the literary pieces for the upcoming weeks. Okay. Did you get that for the characterization? Do you have any questions, clarifications regarding the characterization class? So again, this is a description about the character. For example, in senior high, yung senior high na palabas ngayon sa ABS-CBN, our character is ano, sinong gustong character? Our character is nanonood pa no? Hindi, sige. O, probinsyano na
Makita
lang.
lang po sa YouTube.
Sige. Yung probinsyano na lang, baka napanood natin. So, ang probinsyano, who is our character, main character or the protagonist is Cardo. Now, how are you going to create a characterization for that? As characterization is a detailed description about the character. So, simply, Cardo is in a simple
Immortal.
sentence. Oh, sige. Si Cardo daw is immortal. So that is his characterization. Okay? Because it's a description about Cardo. Nasusundan yan, class? Sige. So
Yes po.
we have two types of characterization. So the first one to that is the direct characterization. Just like what Almac has mentioned earlier, we can identify that as one of the examples of the direct characterization, as it is when the author tells us straight out, direct to the point, yung characterization. Okay, by exposition or analysis, what a character is like, or has someone in the story tells us what he is like. Okay, Cardo is immortal. Is an immortal being. Like that. Directly sinabi natin na immortal si Cardo. Okay, now this is the opposite of the direct characterization, which is the indirect characterization. The indirect characterization refers to a way a writer shows a character straight through the dialogue and the action. Yung nakapaloob it's like it leaves the readers to identify kung ano ba yung personality. Kung ano yung personality ng character. So with that direct characterization na Cardo is an immortal being, we can provide a characterization out of that by telling kung anong action ba na nagpapakita na siya ay immortal. Okay? So it leaves the character the readers to identify kung ano ba mismo yung character. Okay? So you have to decipher its characterization or the personality of the character. Now, to further give you a detailed explanation about that, I have here an example. So, for the direct characterization, so Priya was a generous woman. So, it's a direct characterization. Direct ang sinabi na ano si Priya. Siya ay generous na woman. Now, with the same context, if we are going to use the indirect characterization with the same thought that Priya is a generous woman, we could say Priya emptied out her wallet when she saw he needed the money. Hindi direktang sinabi na generous siya, but because of that action, we can say that she is a generous woman. Okay? Then, John was about a tempered man. That's a direct characterization. And the indirect characterization, John slammed the door on his way out. So the manner na ginawa ni John, pag slam ng door, we can say that he is a bad-tempered man. Another example, so Edmond was a snobby boy, and the indirect characterization, which is through his action, we can say Edmond sneered at his classmates. So these characterizations will totally help the readers identify the personality of the characters, and also for the writers to effectively discuss his character in the story. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the indirect and the direct characterizations. I hope you are getting things out of that. So the next element of the fiction is, or the story is, the setting. So it was also mentioned earlier by your classmate as it could be the time and the place, or when and where the story of the story, or when did the story happen, or where did the story happen. Okay, di ba? Yung usual once upon a time, just like that. Nung unang panahon, so that's the setting, sa malayong lupain, in a far, far away land, so just like that. So it can be a period, a location, time of day, the season, the weather, the type of room, or the building. So that is setting. I guess this is self-explanatory. It's a review lang naman for you to refresh your minds about the different elements. So next one is the point of view. It is also known as the viewpoint. So it's a narrative convention which tells from whose perspective is the story told. So it can be a character, a person point of view, that's the third person, a narrator telling the story by any personal narrator may not be affected by the story situations, and unreliable narrator are telling by an insecure narrator or misleading the character. Diba? Ang easiest way for us to identify if it uses the first person point of view, if it uses the personal pronoun like I, me, and we. Okay, for the first person point of view, which is very rare when it comes to writing fiction, because it's mostly in technical writing. It's when they use you, your, and yours. And for the third person point of view, it's like when specifically for narrator, when he use he, she, it, and they. Okay. Now, it is stated in the last part of the second bullet that's like misleading the readers, because somehow the narrator are the narrator has limited knowledge about what's happening in the story. Yeah, may limited point of view, but somehow there are also narrators who are very knowledgeable about what's happening in the story. That's what we call omniscient. Okay, it's like all knowing. Okay, so it's a good thing if the narrator is omniscient. He knows everything what's on the story, so it will not mislead us in what's happening in the fiction. Now, we also have this term of consciousness. It's like when exposing the character's mind, what's running sa utak ng isang character. Okay? And it is presented through a monologue to the readers, for us the readers to understand what's running around his mind or his thoughts. So that is the point of view. Again, it's also known as the viewpoint. Next is the narrative conventions in writing fiction. So we have the plot conventions, as we know that plot is a series of events in the story. Okay, and this is what I want you to do when you present your plot. Okay, when you present your the assigned literary piece, when most probably that is next week. Next week we will start that next week if we have more time, because I prepare it two PowerPoints. I guess two PowerPoints for today. So let's see if we can have that. But you should always be ready when you are assigned for that certain literary piece. Now, for the exposition, so it is when the characters and settings and even the main conflicts are typically introduced. Okay? Or na-expose. That's why exposition. Ina-expose yung characters, yung nabanggit natin kanina, at saka yung settings and yung conflict. Kaya nga sabi kanina natin, nung unang panahon, or once upon a time in a far, far away land, there was a girl. O, di ba? Nabanggit na yung settings, nabanggit na yung characters. So, that's when you already introduce or expose your characters and settings, as exposition is the beginning of the story. Then we have the rising action. So, it is when the main character is in crisis. So, yung problems or events leading up to facing the conflict. Or could it be the conflict within himself, or it's like a conflict, a man versus himself, or a man versus man, other person, or man versus society, or the environment. So that's when you already for the rising action. Now, mas complicated na in the climax, as it is the peak of the story. It is the turning point of the story. It is the exciting part of the story. Okay? So this is where the drama happens. Lahat ng kadramahan nangyayari dito sa climax. Then next is the falling action. Dito, kung nag-arise kanina yung problems or conflicts, ito unti-unti, gradually nare-resolve yung problems. Okay? Going towards to the resolution or the denouement or the ending. Okay? So in the resolution, everything has been solved. Yung conflicts na-introduce kanina, it has been solved. It is the concluding paragraph of the story. Yung issues, okay, na nangyari, so na-resolve na. Again, the resolution or also called as denouement. Okay. So that's what you need to follow when you discuss the assigned literary piece. But as I told you earlier, before, in between, I will be inserting some inputs, okay, and I will be calling somebody uh, relative to our literary piece. So you should always be ready for that. So far, do you have any questions, clarifications? None. Okay. So since we are talking about the plot, so these are the narrative conventions are utilizing in their these are self-explanatory lang. So the backstory, it tells the events of the story that happened before the present story. Diba somehow, if you do not know the backstory, you are clueless of what's really happening in the present. So it's really important to present a backstory in your literary piece so you will follow the flow of the story. Next is the Chekhov's gun. So it's actually okay, so hindi ko pala na-send yung Dinoma. So actually, this is popularized by Anton Chekhov. So Anton Chekhov is a Russian playwright or author. In his literary piece,
So, copy po ata kayo.
his gun, or also called as the Dinoma. So, the Chekhov's gun, so it's actually, okay, so hindi ko pala na-send yung Dinoma. So, actually, this is popularized by Anton Chekhov. So Anton Chekhov is a Russian playwright or author. In his literary piece, his gun, ganap yung rifle. That's why. So, kapag ginamit yung gun, ibig sabihin may mamatay or anything. So, ano about this time? Choppy pa rin ba? Okay. So, now, as stated here for the Chekhov's gun, so it tells an inherent object inserted in the narrative. When you say inherent, so that is essential. So ano lang yung gustong iparating ni Anton Chekhov here? That when you use an element or when you introduce an element in your story, it should be necessary. As irrelevant element should be removed. Okay, for example, yung nabagan in a story, there must be a reason for that. Okay? Like, somebody will be fired later in the... Hindi yung kunwari, ay gusto ko siguro matutulog itong character ko. Kapag natulog, mananaginip siya. Tapos kapag sa loob ng necklace may picture ng pamilya, eh yung character na yun ay siya ay nawawala. Okay, siya ay nalimot lang or napulot lang ng isang mag-asawang hindi magkaanak. At so bilang mabasa baka iisipin mo siguro yung kwintas na yun ang magiging daan para makilala niya yung kanyang magulang. Pero in the end, hindi pala yun ang naging dahilan at walang nangyari doon. 'Di ba? So yun yung point ni Anton Chekhov that when you insert something in your literary piece, when whatever element is that, it should be something relevant. It should be necessary and it has a reason for inserting that and it will be reflected in any part of your literary piece. Okay? I hope you are observing proper decorum while you are attending my class. You know who you are. I don't want to mention student, but if you're feeling guilty about that, please observe. Because while I'm discussing, I can see you on my screen. Even though it's online class, still you are attending classes. So observe. Okay, this is warning. Okay. Next is in medias res. So when we talk about in medias res, so it's the narration that starts in the middle of the story. Okay, as it is from the Latin term in the middle of a narrative in medias res. So that's the meaning of that. Maybe you notice this one when you are reading, bakit kaya nag-umpisa ito sa gitna ng story? So, because the author used this narrative convention or this flat convention called in medias res. Then next one is the narrative hook. When we talk about the narrative hook, it tells a catchy story opening. Okay? It's to hook the attention of the readers. As I told you earlier, aside from the characters, one of the deciding factors that the readers is considering is its beginning. It's the story opening. So you should have employed a narrative hook when you are using or when you are writing a narrative convention. And maybe like, we will be encountering this one, and let's try to see if the author used this narrative hook in his a story within a story. We also have an example of that in our literary piece. We will be encountering this one. Hypo, which means under, and diegesis, it means the narration. So there is a narration under a narration. Okay, the story within a story. And one classic example of that is the Arabian Nights or the Tales of 1001 Nights by Robert Irwin. I don't know if you are familiar with that. Sa TikTok sumikat yung sayaw may kinalaman sa Arabian Nights. So doon nagmula yung story yon. That it is a story within the story. Next is the Deus Ex Machina. When you say Ex Machina, it tells a good characters in a bad situations and ensures the character wins with unexpected and implausible use to resolve the situation. Ano naman pag sinabing Deus Ex Machina, it's actually from the term God from the machine. It's a Latin term from it's God from the machine. Literally, ang story lang din ito, katulad ng Chekhov's gun, Greeks are because Greeks are the ones who popularized this one, and we all know that Greeks love to do stage play, okay, or plays, and during that time, or the theater, uh, there is this intervention of God, di ba? Sa mga theater, mostly for Greek, may if a human character or a mortal experience an event, there is an intervention ng God. Okay? And the way they are presented, they are like in harness or in their machine. From God above, pababa yung God para mag-intervene sa human action. Okay? Kaya parang it's like himala. Nagkaroon ng himala. Yun yung ibig sabihin lang sa Deus Ex Machina. Okay? Na yung isang character medyo mamatay na. For example, nasa may cliff. Tapos napahakbang ng isa at yung nahakbangan pala ay malambot yung sa dulo na, so nahulog siya. Ano mangyayari pagkatapos nun? Ina-expect natin nahulog na siya sa bangin, mamatay na. But all of a sudden may dumaan na lawin. Imbes na malaglag tuluyan sa lupa, nasalo ng lawin. So in the end, hindi namatay. Okay, kasi nasalo ng langin. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng Deus Ex Machina na parang in a bad situation, still nanalo pa rin yung character. Kasi may unexpected or implausible na nangyari. Nasundan ba yun, class? Nasundan yan sa Deus Ex Machina? They have an example of that wherein, akala po namin ganun, pero in the end, something good happened. May example kayong ganun? Any literary piece that you have read or maybe TV series? Hindi lang
Probinsyano
siya
po.
agad class. Anong meron sa probinsyano?
Yung mga tropa po ni Cardo, tapos binubuli. Tapos dumating si Cardo, ayun, bugbugin ng bubuli.
Oh, 'di ba? Kaya nga babalik tayo dun sa isa sa ating unang example, immortality. So yun, also a good example of Deus Ex Machina na yung good character na nasa alangan ng sitwasyon sa bandang huli ay panalo pa rin. Parang ganon. Okay? So that's the Deus Ex Machina. So mostly common yan sa ating mga Philippine series at saka sa anime din, di ba? So mga ganon na may darating na tulong. Okay? Next is the plot twist. It tells us a surprise ending. Very self-explanatory lang. It tells us a surprising ending. So may bali for the plot. Poetic justice, it tells a reward to the good characters and punishes the bad characters. Uh, yung very common, ipinanganak na mahirap, nagporsige pero inaabuso, pero nagpatuloy pa rin sa buhay. In the end, naparusahan yung nag-ape. So, poetic justice. Okay? Na-achieve yung justice, nagkaroon ng reward yung good character, na-punish yung bad character. Yung cliffhanger naman, tells an abrupt ending that places the main characters in a perilous situation with no resolution. Ito yung cliff, parang hanger, iniwan tayo sa ere. Parang ano ba yun? Tapos na pala, ano nangyari? It leaves us so many questions. Because for the cliffhanger, the ending will depend on other readers themselves, just like that. Okay, we will also be encountering these ones I think literary piece. So that's the reason why I am discussing this first, for you to identify which literary piece use these plot convention. So class, you can use as many as plot conventions as you want sa iyong literary piece. And aside from that, we have the flashback. It tells us an interjected scene in the story that takes it back in time from the current point in the story and often used to tell the events that happened before another important event. And then the flash forward, it tells a scene that creates the narrative to a future time from the current point of the story. Okay, and the last one is the foreshadowing. It indicates or hints something is coming in the latter part of the story, which is also common in the Philippines, and maybe the foreshadowing is also associated with our culture, right? Ano bang mga examples nun? Do you have any example of the foreshadowing na nag-i-indicate siya, paano nagbibigay siya ng clue na ay may mangyayari sa susunod na kabanata, sa mga susunod na parte. If not in literary piece, sa TV series, paano mabibigay? Meron ba? Very common or you encountered? Yes,
Meron po,
anyone
sir.
to share? Yes, ano yon?
Probinsyano rin po.
Oh, sige, ano yung meron sa probinsyano?
Siguro po hindi ko pinakamalapit na po yung mga malapit na po matapos.
Oh, ano yun? Naputol ka? Anong meron? Alin doon?
Kapag po siguro malapit na matapos yung episode po,
Oh,
bigla
Alin?
na lang pong may mga bigla lang pong mag-i-slow mo, tapos may magka-flash up po, tapos iiwan po tayo sa cliffhanger. Siguro po yung mga hint po dun yung part na ano ba?
I'm sorry, nawala ka ulit. Naka-off ang iyong microphone.
Sorry po. So part po nung nung namatay po si Cardo Dalisay sa probinsya po. Nung yung sinabi po sa last minute po ng episode ay parang patay na nga po. Pero yung new episode po, bigla pong naging panaginip na lang. Siguro po yung pagkamatay po ni Cardo Dalisay, nag-let po sa mga viewers ng different meanings po. Pero yung iba po nakaintindi na isang panaginip lang yun kasi siya ang bida. Yun nga po, tumama yung hula nila sa next episode.
So yun yung hint na tumama yung hula for the next episode. Sige, any other example? Again, comment your name if you want to share something. Di ba yung very common, nalaglag ang tasa or nalaglag ang picture frame, yung picture frame merong ang picture na nado doon sa picture frame ay kung sino man, edi ibig sabihin mamatay. Di ba parang mamatay na yung nasa picture frame. Di ba yun yung very common sa atin sa Filipino at kaakibat din siguro ng ating culture. And also yung kapag may pumatak na kutsara, o kung ano man na may dadating. Okay? So we have many examples of the foreshadowing, not only sa ating mga TV series but also the one that you encounter in your literary piece if ever you are reading one. Then, so I guess that's all for the narrative conventions or the plot conventions. Aside from the plot conventions, the writers also use different styles, and the one is the emotional appeal. Kapag sinabing emotional appeal, our emotion, it moves the emotion of the reader or the audience. It is a method used by the author to create an emotional response among his reader or the audience. And then the use of sensory detail, it's the use of mental images. Uh, or the imagery. Okay, it's the use of imagery. Yung nagki-create, it also touches your sense of sight, of taste. If you notice, ano ba yun? Isang buong paragraph, i-discuss lang ay tungkol sa spaghetti. Pero yung within that paragraph, naglaway ka. Kasi na-visualize mo, na-imagine mo, nag-create ng mental picture sa iyo yung tungkol sa spaghetti. So that's the sense of using this style, the use of sensory details. And we can say that that is very effective. The writer or the author is very effective when it comes to using that. Dramatic a visualization, it presents an object or character that with much description or gestures and dialogues, we're making things vivid to the uh, audience. So it's more of the gestures and I'm sorry, it's the dialogues. Then the lit word still. When we say class, the lit word still, it repeats on purpose the words that usually express a motif or theme important in the story. Ano gayon? Bakit lagi ko na lang na-encounter tong word na ito? Kasi gusto lang ng author na i-highlight yung theme ng story. It's about revenge. Lagi niyang i-mention yon. So that is lit word still. Okay? So next is the figure of speech. So it's another style, the use of figures of speech, the use of expressions that are not meant to be read literally. That's why figures of speech, you have to figure it out. You have to know its underlying meaning. The metaphor and the simile are the commonly used figures of speech to create a comparison to feel the connection in the story. So these are reviews lang, okay? You encountered this one nung kayo ay elementary pa lang. So we have the simile comparison between two essentially unlike things, and we can easily tell if the sentence is in simile. Use simile if it uses such as like or as. Like this one, it was the first real day of summer, and by the time she came back indoors, she was as red as tomato. Sino kino-compare? Yung she at saka yung tomato. Ano ang kanilang description? That they are red. Okay, ang tomato red and she ay red. Then the simile, the next one is the metaphor. It's the direct comparison of the similar things that create more vivid imagery and understanding. So direct naman to. It is not using the like as we have in simile. So he was an onion. Directly sinabi na he was an onion. The reason for that is she had to peel back the layers to understand them. Next is the personification, personify. Okay, assigning human attributes to non-human things. Like the sun smiled down on us, di ba? It's our attributes to smile. Okay, it's our characteristic. um, Approaching car headlights winked at me. So, alin doon ang human attribute? It's wink. Okay? Personifying are using the human attributes to the non-human things. Okay? Yung card headlights, yung non-human things. So next ay hyperbole. So it's the exaggeration naman. Okay, it's a deliberate exaggeration that adds emphasis, urgency, and excitement to a statement. Like if I if I don't eat soon, I'm going to die of hunger. Diba? Parang ang exage mo naman ng OA, hindi ka lang kumain later, mamamatay ka na. Okay, so that's for the hyperbole. And next one is euphemism. This is also common. Euphemism, sugarcoating. It is used not to offend others. Okay, a way to say something in an understated manner, often to avoid difficult topics like money, death, or sex. Okay, pinapaganda lang not to offend others or parang in this case hindi masyado masakit. Okay, rather than telling a friend that a relative died, you might say they passed away or no longer with us. And the next one is litotes. I guess this is the not common one, but I know you are aware of this. Others pronounce it as litotes. Again, litotes, it's the use of double negative. Okay, gumagamit lang ng double negative to create a positive one. Just simply like this one, you're not wrong. Double negative, not wrong, pero gusto lang mag-create ng positive one because that means you're right. Okay? Then you are not unlike your father. Not unlike your father who was very persistent. Pero ang ibig sabihin lang naman ito, you are like your father who was very persistent. Diba? That's the beauty of English. We are, because that's how you create creativity. That's how you pour out your creative juices within your body by using these figures of speech. Okay, and we will be encountering different figures of speech for our discussion sa mga literary pieces. Next one, which is the last one, is the oxymoron. Ang oxymoron lang, it joins two opposite ideas naman in a sentence. Dalawang magkaibang idea. Like, clearly misunderstood. Clearly, pero misunderstood. Or act, act na pero naturally. Or pretty pero ugly. Pretty ugly. Found pero missing. Okay, found missing. Seriously, funny. Okay, ano pa? Unpopular celebrity. Diba? It's like we have this thinking that celebrity should be popular, but hindi popular ang celebrity. So it's an unpopular celebrity. That's the oxymoron. Okay? Are you getting things? I hope you can still follow. Next one is the theme. Another element of fiction. It's an underlying message. Ano ba yung central idea ng literary piece? It could be about the life that the author is trying to convey in the story, which is universal in nature. Yung nakakaget, yung nakaka-relate ang bawat isa. So yun yung theme. It could be a human experience, and this is intertwined in the story, which is reflected in the characters' words and actions, events, and other elements. And the last one is the tone. Kapag naman sinabi natin class tone, it's the method by which the writers and speakers reveal attitude. So it depends on the author himself or the feelings. It could be toward his material, toward the readers, and toward the general situation that may be describing and analyzing. This is different from the mood because the mood depends on how we deduce and our interpretation of the literary piece. Okay, how did it affect us? Now, author's attitude or the author toward the subject and matter and toward the readers may be deduced by reading the selection carefully. So that is the tone. And I guess that ends the elements of our literary pieces. So far, so good. Do you have any questions, clarifications, class? Okay, sino ang namumuro
Wala
na?
po.
Okay.
Ako
Sino ang
po,
namumuro na? O, ilan na ang sa iyo?
4 na lang po ang kulang ko.
Okay
Tatlo
na.
na lang po sa akin.
Serving ko na po.
Tatlo.
May
Oh,
nakabing.
oh.
Dalawa po sa...
Again, sabi ko, isend nyo sa ating GC. Kapag nakabingo na, pakisend sa GC. Ah, pero kung sakali class, ano ha, don't worry kung kayo ay medyo nahuli. Jericho, ano yung inansend? Hindi pa talaga.
Nagkamali lang po, sir.
Oh, sige.
Opo.
Still, kung magfa-follow tayo kung ano yung nandun sa GC, kung na-send kayo, ibig sabihin wala kayong na-send the paper. Ang so far, si Japet pa lang ang nangunguna natin. Sige. So yung sa foreshadowing class ha, foreshadow, okay lang siya kasi nakabulo din naman yung foreshadow. Okay. So now we are near towards the ending of our first PowerPoint and we have the literary approaches. So literary approaches, literary criticism, theoretical lenses, they are similar. Okay, literary theory, similar lang siya. Literary criticism, kapag sinabi natin class literary criticism, it's how you analyze the literary piece. Okay, yung interpretation. Hindi kayo nang aatake ng, I mean, ay mali ang ginawa ni author. Hindi ganun yung ibig sabihin because we are trying to know the history, the story behind that kind of literary piece. Bakit kaya ganito ang pagkakagawa ni author, kung si Joseph Renel ang author, ano kaya, bakit kaya ganito yung behavior or anything ng character? Ito ba ay may kinalaman sa kanyang buhay? So that's it. That's for literary approaches. Now, you will be able to use that. You will be able to effectively analyze a literary piece if you know the different approaches in analyzing the literary piece. Actually, we have 7 here as you can see on our module, but we have a bunch of literary piece. Now, sir, isa lang po ba ang pwedeng gamiting approach kapag nag-a-analyze ng literary piece? Pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo. Now, as I told you, I'm doing my thesis and I'm also doing analysis. Ang akin ay tatlo ang ginamit ko. Okay, yung dalawa ron ay hindi dito mababanggit kasi we will just be focusing on our module. Okay? And we will be learning what are those. With the first one is the feminism approach. Kapag sinabi natin feminism, feminist, feminine, okay, woman. Okay? It uplifts women's goal by defining and establishing equality. Okay? Again, uplifting the women's goal by defining or by establishing equality. Could it be in the family, civil, social, political, and economic arena? As long as you are uplifting the women in the society in the presence of literary piece and it is in the form of the character, then you can use feminism approach. Nasusundan yun, class? So feminist literature is often associated with literary pieces written by women that deal with women in society. But that doesn't mean kapag women or woman ang nagsulat, feminism approach agad ang gagamitin. No, you should look at its character. Kung yung character ay na-uplift yung estado nila, kung ang estado ng kababaihan sa literary piece. Okay? Kasi pwede si Sir gumawa ng isang literary piece na pwedeng gamitin nyo ay feminism approach kung ang character, if you did a character analysis at nag-uplift yung character na yon to women. So it gives an impact on the voice of women. So it also involves characters or ideas, as I mentioned, that chide the common gender norms dominated by masculinity. Next one is the new historicism approach. Nasundan, nakuha yung feminism approach class. Pag namang sinabi natin new historicism approach, it's all it deals with the cultural context during the writing of the literary piece. That's why when we are analyzing our literary piece, it's really important to know the background of the author. So that's the first thing that you know that you need to do when you are analyzing a literary piece. You have to know the background of the author if there is an author. Okay, pwede itong gamitin. Because in this case, for new historicism approach, you have to look beyond the context, the cultural context during the time of writing. Nung mga panahong isinusulat ito o nung mga panahong ipinroduce ito. Okay? It interprets literature for its meaning or idea in a particular socio-historical atmosphere, needs an understanding of the author's milieu or the environment of the author and cultural context during its production. For example, si Sir ay nagsulat ng tungkol sa suppose kayo ay ipinanganak mga 20 years from now at binasa nyo yung sulat ng Sir when you were 10 years old. Eh di, mga 20 years from now yung nung binasa nyo yung sulat ng Sir. At ang literary piece ng ginawa ng Sir ay about COVID-19 survivor. Okay, ay di 20 years from now yun. Clueless kayo, ano ba yung COVID-19? So, alamin nyo yung nung mga panahong sinulat ng Sir, bakit naisulat yun ng Sir? During the time of his writing or yung na-produce yung literary piece, may nangyaring COVID-19 pandemic. Nasusundan yun, that's the motivation of Sir of writing his literary piece because of what's happening around his environment. Nasusundan class yon, hindi man si Sir, hindi man siya si Joseph Rinal yung survivor, but yung plot line ay may kinalaman sa kung ano yung nangyari sa mga panahong sinulat yun ng Sir. Nasundan? Now, can you please give me an example of a literary piece wherein we can use this new historicism approach? Class, there is an appropriate use ng literary approach pero hindi naman nalilimitahan kayo dyan. Kaya nga for the approach, it's different lenses kung how you view yung literary piece, kung saan kayo magfo-focus. Now, in this case, magfo-focus tayo sa mga panahong naisulat yon. Kaya, new historicism approach. Going back to my question, what literary piece are you going to share wherein we can use the new historicism approach? Meron tayo niyan, very classic. Ano kaya? In the Philippine context, if you have an example. Yes, Janela. Again, comment your name if you want to answer. Janela, you may unmute yourself. Janela, I don't know if it's only in my end, but I can't hear you.
Hello po, audible na po ba?
Yes, audible ka na.
Pwede, No Limit Tangere po, which is written by Dr. Ceresal during the Spanish period.
Okay, that is the concrete example. No Limit Tangere because we all know that it was written by Jose Rizal and during that time, nang sinulat niya yun, may nangyayaring ganun na nakapaloob sa kanyang literary piece. Yes, Batayan?
Yung second part po siguro yung El Fili.
Okay.
Yun din po
Same
yung
reason.
explanation po. Yes po.
Okay, yes. Yes, that is actually correct. How about yung kahit hindi sa Philippines, mayroon ba kayong may ibang maibibigay na example na nabasa nyo na or na pwede nyo ma-share sa bawat isa? Meron ba? Na may kinalaman yung kwento? I mean, nag-reflect yung kwento sa kung kailan na isulat or nailimbag yung literary piece na iyon. Meron ba? So we can consider, pwede may recommend sa amin at pwede naming mabasa. Ah, sige. Siguro po sir, nakalimutan lang ang title. Sige. Yung Little Women pala is also a classic novel. We can also use that sa feminism approach if you are familiar with that one. Next one is but I hope you get the idea of this. Next one is the formalism approach. Kapag naman klase naming formalism, it is also called as new criticism. We are after the form. So we have to look at the literary piece itself. You have to use close reading sa literary piece. This means that the formalist interpretation of the work of an art is formulated by the information and details of the piece itself. So formalists do not interpret a work based on the matters that are outside and confines the work, like the history, the politics society, and the time, like the new historicism approach earlier, or even the author. But you are after yung mismong pagkakaporma ng literary piece. When we were in college, the most common na ginagawa namin ito, na ginagamit namin ito ay for the poem. Okay? Because we are looking beyond kung bakit ganun kaya ang pagkakasulat ng poet na ito, because here they see it autonomously and can be gauged through internal structure and language. Bakit ganun ang language na ginamit ni William Shakespeare, Old English? Bakit kaya ganun yung itsura ng tula ni E. E. Cummings? Are you familiar with him? E. E. Cummings? Have you heard that? So very interesting. Okay, so just like this one, the manner pa rin na pagkakasulat ng sir ng A.A. Cummings, 'di ba dapat pag proper noun it should be capitalized, but he prepared to use this in lowercase kasi si A.A. Cummings, he deviate the rules in grammar or punctuation. So because we all know that poets or writers have this poetic license. I will be giving you the example of E. E. Cummings writing yung very famous yan na I carry your heart with me. So maybe you can search that, I carry your heart with me. So it's from E. E. Cummings. Okay, so you can also visit this website so to read the entire poem, the manner kung paano na isulat ni E. E. Cummings, the way yung bakit yung I hindi nakakapitalize, because that is his way, that is his style. Okay? So maybe we can consider that when we are using this formalism approach, at it considers the form, structure, and technical feature as important than the content and context. Kung kanina naglulukbian tayo sa kung kailan nasulat, yung literary piece na ito mismong dun sa literary piece, dun tayo nakafocus. Nasusundan class, yung form ng literary piece. Then next one is the biographical approach. So it sees a literary work as a reflection of the author's life. Parang ito yung nangyari sa buhay ng author, parang ganun din. So maybe we can consider this one, we can consider using biographical approach. As critics using this school of thought or this approach, the simple as that, investigate how the plot details, the settings, and the characters of the work reflect or a representative of events, settings, and people in the author's life. Okay, kaya siguro na isulat yun ni, for example, ni Joseph Renel Suarez yung tungkol sa rejection. Kasi nung mga panahon na sige, nabubuhay pa rin naman siya. Nung mga panahong iyon ay siya ay naka-experience din ng rejection. So, we can have at napatotohanan natin yan because of the interview. Okay? So, we can use this biographical approach. Next is the reader response theory. So it's a school of literary theory that focuses on the reader or the audience and their experience of a literary work in contrast of the other schools and theories na nabanggit natin kanina that they are focused sa author and the content or the form. Here, in reader response approach, we are focused sa sa reader, how we can respond or react to that certain literary piece. And kaya nga sabi, this is somehow biased because it depends on our interpretation as readers. And nagiging biased siya because my interpretation could be different from Renzo, given that we are born in different generations. Sister ay from Generation C. So you are from other generation kasi from the 1990s, sister. And given that I also have different experience compared to Renzo, our values and issues. Therefore, each generation will read the work differently. That is the reader response theory. It is focused on the reader's interpretation. Now, psychological criticism naman, so it addresses human behavior as a psychological, it's psychology. So it requires it's the development of characters through their action. It requires that we investigate psychology of the character and their motives in order to figure out the work meanings. So we can use the psychological criticism. Class, when we are analyzing a literary piece, this is the format that I want you to do as our format for this course. Your interpretation, and then you can get a supporting detail or a line or a dialogue from the literary piece relative to your interpretation. After that, you have to back it up with pieces of evidence or any further explanation. Okay, na mapapatotohanan or masasagot, masusuportahan yung inyong interpretation. For example, so for the psychological criticism, nasabi nyo na na-interpret nyo na may something sa behavior ng isang character kasi yung character ay siya ay nambubugbog ng asawa, nang aabuso ng mga anak. Okay? At ipapakita nyo sa ang part yon yung pang-aabuso. Okay? Parang we are investigating kasi nga we are interpreting yung literary piece. Ilalagay nyo siya. And then you can support that. You can back it up with a certain study. For example, according to Suarez 2023, when a person experiences a traumatic uh, when a person has this traumatic experience, it could be reflected sa kanyang behavior. Okay? And that is very evident dun sa action na ginawa ng character na yon. Okay? So that's how you do the criticism or analysis using the psychological criticism. We will be doing more about that kapag naka-expose na tayo sa mismong literary piece, since these are just concepts. Next, which is another description, the School of Criticism got its start. So thank you to those who are continuing their words. So incorporating the importance of unconscious and subconscious in human behavior, some typical archetypal Freudian interpretation includes rebellion against a father, death wish forces, or sexual repression. Okay? So archetypal, it's the symbolisms used. Okay? Next is the last one, which is the moralistic approach. Morality. Doing what is right or it judges literary work by ethical teaching. Tama ba yung decision ginawa ng character? Okay, and paste yung part na yon and then support it if that is really true. As the ethical issues. We also have an example of this one sa ating be reflected sa ating literary piece na mas study. And I guess that's under Cambodia. There, and that is very that those I guess that's all for our discussion for this part. So that ends our first PowerPoint. I hope you got something for this part. Any questions or clarifications that we can ask? That's how, the way how you're going to analyze the literary piece. May unclear ba, class? Clear or unclear, vague information so we can clear it out.
Clear naman po, sir.
Okay, so I hope with that concept, it would be easy for you to analyze the literary piece. By now, maybe hindi pa masyado kasi nga we are not totally exposed sa mga literary piece at hindi pa natin totally na-analyze because they are pure concepts. But as we have more literary pieces, then we will see about that. So our top 10 students, same naman tayo ng chat box, 'di ba? Si pa-double check ako, Janela, please type sa ating JC kung sino yung tatlo kanina sa jumbled letters and then yung 10 nauna rito sa pagsasend. Don't unsend your paper kasi let's see kung ano yung ating ibibigay na consideration because you participate in our discussion by focusing on our PowerPoint presentation. Sino nga yung nauna natin kanina? Si Japet. Yes, Japet, what's your strategy? Anong strategy
Sinulat
ang
ko lang po yung mga medyo familiar po, tsaka yung hindi po masyadong familiar sa akin.
So that's your strategy. And
Opo.
since you're the first one, sabi ng sir, you will be getting 1 point for the upcoming quiz, the top 10. Now, do you want to continue this kind of activity for the next or wag na? Japet?
Maganda nga pong may ganitong activity po para po may class participation po.
Okay, sige. Sino ang hindi kaya nakaabot? Yes, si Romelia, nakaabot ka ba? Romelia?
Yes po.
Nakaabot. So do you want to do this again?
Yes, sir.
Pang ilan si Romelia? Yes, Romelia, pang ilan ba?
Pang 7 po, sir.
Sige, so abot nga. So, I guess that's all. Let's see if we can still continue that once ating mga susunod na discussion. But I hope aside from focusing on the blue one, the reason why I use blue because according to what I have read, mas nare-retain ng ating brain na may memorize ang ating brain, hindi nakalilimutan ng ating brain yung mga naka-blue at saka naka-red. Okay, so kaya blue at saka red yung ginamit ng sir. It's just that nung aking kinonvert ito sa PowerPoint, bakit kaya naging black ito? Ang number itong sa taas naka-black. And kinonvert ko sa PDF, naging black ito. So yung ma-upload ko ay kulay black ha ito. So sana ay matandaan nyo pa rin kapag nagre-review. So I guess that's all for the first topic. We still have an hour, right? Hanggang 11 tayo. So maybe we can take a break and yeah, we will have a break and let's resume at 10 10:10. Okay? I hope you learned something from our discussion. If there is one word that is very clear to your mind, what would that be? Peter, that
Yes po, sir. Medyo nagputol-putol lang po.
okay, what is this one word that
Yung ano po,
stuck
yung
to your mind during our discussion?
um, readers po.
Readers. As the major interpretation would be dependent sa reader. Sige. Just give me a number, Peter.
Um, 16 po.
Okay, number 16, Wilson.
Sir, yung ano po, yung feminism approach po, sir.
How about you? What is this word that is tama? Yun ba? Mas naintindihan?
Nag-choppy po, sir. Pero feminism approach po yung sinabi ko po, sir.
Okay, class, I will be extending more time for our break. So let's see o'clock. So that will serve as our guide for our meeting. Thank you to those who automatically open their cameras. So I guess when the clock ticks at 30 seconds, you may automatically open your cameras. So those who have stable internet connections, I appreciate if you open your camera so I can see you on your screen. Philippines, since we do not have much time, then on our next meeting, we will be having the discussion for one or I mean maybe two literary pieces from the Philippines. So get ready if you are from Tataselo, but always be ready if ever matapos din naman natin agad ang Tataselo, then we can proceed to the next one. I will be discussing the Mabuti or Kwento ni Mabuti. Then if we have more time for of course I guess we have more time for Tataselo, and then if we have more time for the next one under Vietnam, then we can have that. So you should always be ready for that. And doon pa lang talaga si Sir magkakaroon ng talagang Q&A for everybody since I'm presenting you the concepts lang. Okay? But so sa mga susunod na araw, doon tayo talaga mag-a-analyze para madali sa inyo ang magsulat ng inyong literary analysis. Okay? Kasi concepts pa lang ang dinidiscuss ng sir. And for this part naman, I will just be also discussing some information about the Philippines. So hindi naman ito talagang more explanation kasi concepts lang talaga siya about the Philippines. I just want you to know some pieces of information about the Philippines because that will serve as a guide countries. We will try to relate or to compare our literary depending on their literary pieces. So yung mga ipapakita ng sir ay most probably magre-reflect din siya sa ibang literary pieces ng ibang country ng culture or some concepts or some practices sa Philippines sa other member states ng country. Kasi yun talaga yung goal natin as I have discussed sa ating orientation, we will try to know the culture of other member states. Okay? By studying their literary pieces. Kasi kung ano yung literary pieces nila, naka-reflect din yung kanilang culture. So at the end of this course or at this lesson, you will be able to understand both the artistry and utility of the English language through the study of literature and other contemporary forms of culture. We also had, we will also be explaining the significance of studying Philippine literature and identify the literary genres, types, and elements which we are done already. Okay, so we will try to achieve the first two since we have achieved the last one. Now, our first member state is the Philippines. And I believe you are really familiar with the Philippines since we are all living here and maybe lahat tayo din ay dito ipinanganak. Okay? Kung may sa ibang bansa man, but majority of us are actually were actually born here in the Philippines. Now, going back to the first one, to the second one, explain the significance of studying Philippine literature for you as a mechanical engineering student or as a student, as a college student. Uh, what do you think is the importance of studying the Philippine literature? Just your thought. What do you think is the importance? Is there an importance? Wala po. Yes. Again, comment your name if you want to answer. Yes, Bantayan.
Sorry po sir. Siguro po as a Filipino na lang po, hindi po as a college student. Siguro po yung learning this literature, especially Philippines po. Hindi na po siya badly or recommended or need po nating aralin. Pero siguro po gusto lang po siguro natin alamin kung ano po ba talaga yung mahalaga. Kung ano pong meron sa Pilipinas. Since ang idea ko po is before learning other countries is what if I enjoy first what has Philippine had po para mas makilala ko po kung ano po pa talagang pagmamalaki ko sa ibang bansa.
Okay, thank you. To know what is may pagmamalaki sa ibang bansa, sabi ni Bantayan. Yes, Miss Torano.
Sir, para po sa akin, kaya rin po hindi po mamatay yung
Uh,
bansa.
I'm I'm sorry, I don't know if it's only in my case, but you are chopping.
Wait lang po, sir. Dalawa po. Okay na po, sir.
Yes, yes.
And sa akin, sir, kaya po important na mapag-aralan po yung Philippine literature. Kung mamatay yung legacy no. Mas maganda po na napag yung literature. Pag nagkaroon tagal pong hindi na pag-aralan yung literature, in the future po ay po yun sa mga yun po, sir.
Okay, so we barely hear you earlier, but I got your thought that we have to study this to know to continue the legacy kasi kapag nawawala parang ganun, di ba? Parang napapabayaan. So it's the same with the saying, di ba? Spoken words perish, written words or remain. Have you heard that? Di ba? Parang pag hindi naisalin, nawawala na talaga siya. Okay, and mostly din kung spoken siya, that's why it's really important for us to put into writing that para from generation to generation nalalaman yung tungkol doon. Yes, Mendoza.
Hello po sir, pakinig ka po ako.
Yes.
Para po sa akin, as a Filipino estudyante po ay mahalaga po pag-aralan dahil po mas nai-improve po ang communication at language skills natin at mas na-appreciate po natin ang arts at heritage po ng sariling atin ng Pilipinas po. Yun lang po.
Okay, so that's totally right. It widens your vocabulary when you are exposed with different writings. You will learn different words. And na-explore din natin ang mga different parts of our country by just reading. But as we said, reading is your passport to any other parts of the world. Even though you're just sitting, parang nagta-travel ka around the world. And I will be able to say this because of my readings. According to what I have read also, if ever you are experiencing mental health issues, ang good way din para at least uh, ma-enhance or if that is the term or ma-develop or ma-improve ang inyong mental health ay by reading. That's why we have this what we call bibliotherapy if you are familiar with that para at least naka-focus ka, hindi ka magkakaroon ng undivided attention. You can also look after that. Okay? If ever you're experiencing some failure, just read or anything para at least may divert ang attention mo sa ibang bagay. Yes, is the latest.
Para naman po sa akin, personally po as a Filipino, studying Philippine literature po strengthens my personality. I can appreciate more who I am and some my nationality.
Okay, that's right. Your personality, your nationality. Okay? So, we can see talaga ang benefit of reading. Yes, Remo, how about you?
Good morning po, sir. So, ako naman po as a Filipino po na dito po lumaki and dito pinanganak sa Philippines. I guess studying Philippine literature is really important kasi po aminado po ako na kahit po ako ay isang Pilipino ay hindi po malawak yung alam ko sa Philippine literature. So, I guess po ay mahalaga kung sa Filipino ay aaralin ko po yung Philippine literature, hindi lang po para maging malawak yung alam ko when it comes to Philippine literature, kundi para rin po kumbaga may mai-share ako sa ibang tao, especially dun sa mga hindi po Pilipino or kagaya ko po right now na hindi po malawak yung kaalaman when it comes to Philippine literature. And another thing po is, if nagbabasa po kasi tayo ng literature, halimbawa po ng ganyan na Philippine literature, kumbaga parang it bring us po sa past, parang na-experience din natin sa pagbabasa natin. And I want that to experience po. Yun lang po.
Okay, so that's right. Ang ating mababasa ay actually written, hindi 2000 but contemporary, and they are very popular and awarded literary pieces. Yes, Ramos.
Sir, yung literature po ay nakakatulong sa atin para as an engineering student, makadiscover tayo ng mga problems in the past and mabigyan natin ng solution ngayon sa present. Parang nai-relate po natin yung past and present.
Okay, so may relate natin ang past and a present. So we have different advantages and benefits of reading literary pieces, specifically the Philippine literature. So it's up to us on how we can observe that. So thank you for sharing that. I hope uh, you will continue appreciating literary pieces from the Philippines and also from around the globe. Now I have here some terms. Ramos, can you please give me a number?
40 po.
Yes, number 40. Can you please open your... si Salazar. Parang si Salazar yung nag-message kanina sa akin. Narito ka na ba? Wala pa rin. So, may...
Hindi naman.
Yeah. Okay na ga?
Maano pa rin po, may pa din po. Gawa po
Sige.
siguro
Pwede
ng
namang yeah. Kung ano, okay lang kung i-off mo ang camera kung sakali. Pero kung ma-open mo naman, okay lang din. But I can
Sige po.
see that you open your camera right now. Okay, now, just tell me if it is a fact or bluff. So, can you please? Okay, I will be the one to read this. The Philippine peso, which is signed, and the code PHP is the official currency in the country. So, 100 centavos or centimos make up 1 peso. Is it a bluff, a fact, or a bluff?
fact po. Fact
Okay,
po, sir.
so are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Sure na.
Yes po.
Sige. So that is a fact. Okay. So that is actually true. But you have to take note, that Philippines, hindi lang Philippines ang gumagamit ng currency na peso. Kaya it should be the Philippine peso. Okay? Kasi meron ibang bansa like Mexico, peso rin ang gamit, or Dominican Republic, and Cuba. Give me a number. Yes. Number, Salazar? 1 to 45. When I ask you about number 1 to 45 lang tayo.
32 po. 32.
32 divided by, okay, 32 divided by 2 is, ilan yon?
16.
16. Tama ga?
Yes po.
What's number 16? Are you there?
Dito po,
Okay.
sir.
In converting the overwhelming majority of Filipinos. Yes, at least 83% of the total population belongs to the Roman Catholic. Is that a fact or bluff?
Fact po, sir.
Okay, so fact. Okay, that is actually correct. Okay, majority of the Filipinos are Roman Catholics. So this one, so the American occupation was responsible for teaching the Filipino people the English language. The Philippines is currently the third largest speaking country in the world. Is that a fact or bluffed? Rip Van Winkle. I'm sorry. Yes. Why? Why? So what takes this statement wrong or these statements wrong? Ah, sige. So we will try to verify that, but based on what I have searched, that is a fact. So if ever you can provide me another information about that, so we will make this correct. Okay, but so far that is correct. And again, our official languages here in the Philippines are English and Filipino as based sa Tagalog. Next is the other one. How about this one, Kyla? What's your answer?
Fact po, sir. Hindi po ako
Ramos.
sure.
Fact. You're not
Yes.
sure.
Apo,
Okay. Okay, so the correct answer for that is bluff because it's 1521, not 19. Okay, not 1921. Okay, so those are some basic information about these are the other information about the Philippines. Now, for you to not lose focus during our discussion, so I will also be, di ang dami na ng sir na plus 1 point. Okay, so I would be giving one student lang. One student, if ever he or she counted the number of book in our slide. So all you have to do is to look for this book. It comes in different sizes. It comes in different places sa ating PowerPoint. Okay? So you have to count the number
So,
of this
included po ba yung
book.
kanina?
Aling kanina? Meron na ba kanina?
Hmm.
Wala pa. Sige. Hindi pa natin i-include. So it's a good thing na nakita nyo yon. So siya ay foreshadowing. Okay, so ito lang. So count the number of magnifying, sorry, of these books and all throughout our discussion, and at the end of our lesson, I will be picking based sa ating mahiwagang ruleta na lang mamaya. One student. Okay? When I ask you to comment the number of books sa ating chat box, so just comment it. Okay, but I hope you will not lose focus sa ating discussion in counting these books. Okay? So it's just another motivation for you to continue listening to our discussion. So this one is already counted, meaning you already have one. Nasusundan yung Robert?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Now, so the Philippines is an archipelago of 7,641 islands. So 7,641 islands na that are recognized broadly under the three main geographical divisions from north to south, the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So if you want to know more about 761 islands, so you can visit the other sources as indicated in our chat on the PowerPoint. So gmanetwork.com and also uh, other source or other website. So it stretches the south of China to the northern tip of Borneo. The country has over 100 ethnic groups and a mixture of foreign influences that have molded a unique Philippine culture. You can also see that we already have 7,641 islands sa beta.tourism.gov.ph website. Okay, so again, we already have 7,641 islands. And based on what I have read so far, if ever there are changes, um, 2,000 lang yung natitirahan. Now, for the culture, since it was mentioned earlier, for the culture, the Philippines are predominantly of Malay descent, frequently with Chinese and sometimes American or Spanish ancestry. It is because we were once colonized by these countries, especially American and Spanish. And for the trademark kaya nagkakaroon lang sa Chinese. So many people have Spanish names because of a 19th century Spanish decree that required them to use Spanish surnames. And maybe that's the time kung isa-search nyo ang surname, ang history ng inyong name. But I believe my name, I mean surname Suarez is actually Spanish or the last names. 'Di ba? Meron ditong iba't ibang mga pangalan and parents often use their children after the saint whose feast day was on the date of their birth. Or mostly ang mga pangalan natin ay galing sa Bible. Nabanggit nyo rin sa ating orientation. We have Christian, Joseph, or John, Peter, mga John, Mary, value traditions and culture. For Filipinos, traditions in their home and in their family are important. So they usually like festivals, birthday parties, reunion, etc. Every gathering is dedicated to keeping up with each other over some food, 'di ba? We are known to have different occasions, and whenever we have occasions or celebrations, we always prepare food, 'di ba? Especially sa ating birthday, may reunion. At kayo, Riona, at what day of the month or date na lang for the entire year kayo nagsa-celebrate ng family reunion? Do you follow that, Riona?
Yes po, sir. Family reunion po, tuwing February po.
Why February?
Kasi yun po yung month na mostly mas madami po yung may birthday sa family.
Okay. So, 'di ba? So, we have different dates to celebrate or to do some reunion. In our case, mostly talaga siya ay December 26 or January 1 kasi doon din talaga kami nagkakasama-sama. How about you, Giancarlo, in your place or in your family? Do you do reunions once a year or any other year?
Siguro po ano,
What's your setup?
pag po April, tapos po anniversary po ng aking
Why
inay at
April?
itay, eh nagpapa-outing po sila. Then nagkakasama-sama po kami.
So pa-outing ang kanila, 'di ba? So and when they have the outing because of the anniversary ng kanilang parents, meron silang iba't ibang food. Okay? So we have different foods. So same description earlier. So like this one, and we are known to have this very hindi man lahat, most of the Filipinos love sige, nawala ako kanina. Ano ang hindi nawawala sa handaan kina Barlet kapag may handaan or may gathering? Yes,
Ah,
Barlet. Can you
mga
hear me? Did you
pansit.
hear my question earlier?
Alin po? Yung ngayon po
Mga
yung hinahanda po.
Yes.
Mga pansit po, mga spaghetti.
Yes, yes. Okay, di ba? Kahit birthday na hindi mawawala, kahit anong okasyon hindi mawawala ang pansit at spaghetti pampahaba ng buhay. Yeah. So, and ang ating mga pagkain ay also nakaangkla rin sa ating culture and our tradition. Aside from that, we Filipinos also have the longest Christmas celebrations. So even as early as August, 'di ba? Or sa dulo ng August, nagpapakita being played in the malls or in the restaurants in the Philippines. The mood becomes festive and many people shopping and in good spirits. So Christmas celebration lasts until around the first or second week of January. So Christmas is one of the most loved celebrations by the Filipinos, and family relative gather on the 24th of December to celebrate food prepared for the Noche Buena, which is a Spanish term which means midnight meal to greet Christmas Day. So this is for also related to the religious aspect. Next, for the New Year naman, Filipinos love to wear dotted clothes and preparing round fruits on table, which symbolize prosperity, and is one of our customs of the Filipino, di ba? Whenever we have our celebration, we should always prepare something to eat. Then we also love to sing. So this is a reason why karaoke has become so prevalent. So as part of their recreation, Filipinos spend their quality time with their families and friends singing or belting out new and old song. Diba? Sabi nga, 99%, sinasabi ng iba, or 90% of the Filipinos know how to sing. Kaya parang questionable kung tayo talaga ay Filipino. Kasi si Sir hindi din maalam kumanta. But babalik tayo doon sa ating celebration. Whenever we have our celebration, we always prepare karaoke or videoke. Then we take pride in our families. So we always believe that family should always come first. So whether you are part of an immediate family or belong to the third or fourth generation, you are treated as a family member. Sometimes even the closest of Yes, Jonel, sorry nawala. Did you hear my question? Jonel? Jonel, did you hear me?
Sir pa ulit po. Medyo nagputol-putol po kayo.
Okay, so as we said, we always celebrate with our family and we're always close with our family. Now, in your case, saan ka close? Sa family, sa father side or mother side? Di ba somehow ganun daw mga Filipinos.
Actually po sa mother side po, kasi po ang magkakapatid po ni mama ay kapitbahay na rin po namin dito po sa isang buong lugar na. At ang father side po kasi usually nasa ibang lugar such as sa Makati, sa Mindoro, sa Laguna, Cavite, Quezon po. Kaya hindi ko po sila masyado nakakasama.
Okay, but still you are close with them. It's like you're closer to your mother's side.
Yes po. Kasi sila po kasi madalas namin makasama, lalo na po at kapitbahay lang po talaga.
Okay, so that's actually correct. We have the same situation. So sa father side naman, but ang yung same situation ay kasi ang buong compound din namin is for the Suarez side. That's why I'm closer to my father's side kasi nadala ang aking inay sa father's side. Next is Filipinos are very respectful. I hope ito ay hindi na mawala kasi hindi totally mawala, especially na we are living in a modern technology. So sana in a modern world sana ay patuloy pa rito na observe. So ito ay yung they already taught how to be respectful by using the catchphrases like po and opo. I believe naman evident pa siya, but I'm very much concerned when it comes to pagmamano, which is also our culture. So which is where you raise the backs of the hands of their elders of their elders to their foreheads as a sign of respect. Okay? Diba sabi religion. So Filipinos help each other, so more popularly known as bayanihan. So Filipinos help one another without expecting something in return. So that undertaking their tasks and responsibilities become much easier. This is also called as community spirit. Class, kapag sinabing bayanihan ha, hindi yung nagbubuhat lang ng bahay kubo. Okay? Ang bayanihan ay pagtutulungan. And I can say na observe pa rin namin yan here sa laging may pag may baysanan ay laging nagtutulungan, nagkakatay ng baboy. So it's another way of presenting the bayanihan spirit. Now for the education system, I included this one because we will be encountering this to our literary piece. So the Philippine education covers the formal and non-formal education. We have the grade school, we have the high school, and yours is the tertiary level. Now we also have the trifocalized wherein we are also observing the technical vocational education that's under the TESDA and also you under CHED, which is the Commission on Higher Education. So this is the diagram for that. So we have the grades 1 to 6, also the senior high school, which you experience. Okay? Si Sir ay hindi naka-experience ng senior high school. So of course, the track that you will be taking will be related to what you will be taking for your college. Now, let's focus on the kindergarten. Now, during these days, the students age aged 5 will start to attend or even younger the kindergarten, and that's when the time they learn some basic numbers, shapes, and words. So they are very important in helping them grow as a learner. Pero hindi pa naman dito nag-aaral ng calculus, ano pa ba, mga physics, basics lang talaga. So kung parang foundation talaga ang kindergarten, natatandaan ba kung sino ang naging teacher? Si Sir pala hindi nag-kindergarten, ba noon ay uso ang daycare. So sa daycare Sir, tapos grade 1 na. Kasi sabi daw foundation ang kindergarten. Natatandaan ba ni Crisanta kung sinong kanyang unang guro?
Tandang-tanda po. Ang
O, di
unang
ba?
teacher ay
Ah,
mabait.
yun. O, di ba? At saka tandang-tanda mo pa nung mga panahong ikaw ay doon. Ano ang hindi mo malilimutan nung ikaw ay kinder? Nung ikaw ay kinder pa?
Bale, nag-umpisa po kasi ako as baker. Ang tandang-tanda ko po ay lagi po kami
Yes.
nanonood ng Dora.
Di ba? Kasi nga foundation, so Dora. How about yung mga ginagawa aside from when it comes to academia? May calculus na, integral calculus na kayo noon?
Wala po. Ang ginagawa po
Wala.
namin,
Ano?
kumakanta lang po kami palagi.
Oo. I can remember that. Natatandaan ko din ang aking teacher ng daycare at kumakanta kami ng Chikadin. Diba, kung tayo ay face to face, sana kakanta tayo Chikadin, Chikadin. Diba? So, may core memory yung ating daycare kasi nga yun naging foundation ng ating learning at kung matatandaan nyo, basic lang talaga at parang wala tayong problema noong panahong iyon. So, shapes, A, B, C, D, at saka number 1 to 10 lang, siguro ang kaya natin nun. So, we will be encountering another literary, di ba? Lagi si Sir encountering literary piece sa susunod nating discussion, and let's see kung paano yung anong pagkakatulad ng ating kindergarten or daycare sa kanilang bansa. And I guess we will be ending at this part kasi 10:51 na. Yes, 10:51 na. We will continue this sa ating susunod na discussion. Just inform me ha kung anong number tayo. Slide 31 tayo. Okay, so kasi may sunod pa kayong klase, tama ga? May sunod pa kayong klase, Jonel?
Yes
Or
po,
wala
sir,
na?
pero 2 o'clock pa po yata yun, sir.
So parang gusto mong idiretso na, ganon, ang discussion?
Di naman po, pero depende pa rin po sa mga klase.
Sige. Pagpapahingahin ko na lang kayo at 3 oras tayong nag-absorb ng learning. So sana ay yung sa loob ng 3 oras na yon, do kakaunti yung ating break ay na-absorb pa rin ang ating mga pinagsasabi rito. So we will be ending sa 31. Huwag kalilimutan ang ating libro. So sa susunod, pagkatapos nito ay the discussion ng literary pieces. After dito ha, ng literary pieces sa Philippines, let's see kung makakaproceed tayo sa mga susunod na literary pieces. Okay, so with that, na-send mo na ba, Janela, kung sino yung mga nasa yung ating nakakuha, sa ating mga nagpipitagang earner?
Yes po, sir.
Ating mga
Send ko na po
points?
sa group chat.
Ayan, sige, nakita ko na. So parang yung congrats, guys. May dating.
Sarcastic po, sir.
Ano na
Hindi
yan?
po, sir. Genuine po yun. Pasali po
Again,
kasi.
I hope hindi lang tayo sa nakafocus ha, but also sa ating discussion as light as it could be. Kasi alam kong kayo ay may mga ibang mga mahihirap na or matrabaho, challenging na courses. So with that, sinong hindi ba natawag? As you notice, I keep on recording ang inyong participation. I hope sa mga susunod dumami. Sino ang hindi na naka-imik? Adrian? Adrian, open your camera and microphone.
Yes po, sir.
Our tradition. Yes, kita na. Our tradition.
Ano po, hashtag I learned a lot po.
Paano yung hashtag ulit? Hindi namin nakita. Sige. So, maraming nag-chat-chat. Sino kaya yun? Bilisan daw kasi mag-e-end na. Okay, so with that, let's end this meeting with the sign of the cross of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you everyone for attending this meeting. I hope you learned something from me. If not all, ay kahit papaano ay meron. So let's see each other next meeting. Always wear a smile on your faces. Thank you everyone. You may now leave this meeting.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po sa